Alright, time for another little quick video on the specialization of trade. I've been asked this morning by a couple of different people to make a quick little micro tutorial on starting trade. Now, as you see here, I have the initial building, the trade depot, and it comes with just one storage unit for freight. What that does, it will store freight from your industrial complex, and what that means is all of your industrial buildings produce freight for commercial buildings and for regional/global trade. Now, if you don't have enough demand or enough places to send freight in your city, your industrial buildings will hold that freight. And when they hold that freight, it'll back up and they won't produce any more, which will in effect cause them to lose happiness or not gain happiness, and them not be able to upgrade to tier 2, tier 3 density. So it's always best to keep an eye on how much freight you're storing. Once you get to max, add on another storage unit for freight. Now, trade by itself isn't really going to get you far or make you a lot of money. And the reason why is because it's a specialization by itself, but it's meant to be used with either mining or oil drilling. And this is one of the more complex and in-depth specializations compared to, say, gambling, where all gambling is you set one down, put on a little add-ons, and it goes by itself. With trading and whatever specialization you decide to use with trading, be it ore or oil, it gets quite a bit more involved, especially in the very beginning. I'm going to cover coal with trading today, since that's what I'm working on this map. As you can see, I'm on a different map than I'm usually on. And this is my map of what not to do, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But when you first start out, you're going to always want to start out with your trade depot. That way you give your industrial buildings a place to send their excess freight. And then later on, when you get enough money, and another thing I really want to stress when you start ore mining is that you have the correct infrastructure in place to support ore mining. The reason why is because it is severely demanding on your workforce, on your power supply, and your water supply. I know on this map, when I started, I had 2 windmill plants, a solar plant, and I think three or 4 water towers. And when I put this up, it completely demolished what I had, to the point to where I lost power to my city and I lost water to my city because it uses that much. And I'll show you an example here of what I mean. Like, I am able to power my entire city with what I have, except for this. As you can see, this is barely staying afloat with the power I have going to my city. It's that demanding. And as a result of this, my power comes through here, and it usually goes up or down, and it's being sucked all into here, which is pulling away from these buildings and causing these buildings to go out of power. I really, really suggest that you have a lot of power. I'm currently at 16 megawatts in my region, and it's not nearly enough to run this, what I have. And, my water is good for what it's at. And the reason why is because I had to end up demolishing all 4 of my water towers and putting in a tier 2 water pumping station with an additional water pumping station add-on in order to supply the city I have with water because of this coal mine. But once you have the correct infrastructure put in, you also need to make sure that you have the proper workforce put in as well to supply this coal mine. Because this coal mine is dependent on a couple of things. First, it takes a lot of workers, and I mean a lot. I'm talking like 1,000 plus, if not more than that. There's no way of telling exactly how many it takes because they don't have that feature in the game, but it takes a lot. And on the flip side of that, this is one of the few buildings that I know of right now that it will tell you how much money or how much ore is being drilled a day, and that ore is dependent on the workforce in that building. So if this coal mine is understaffed, you'll see your tons drop down to 70, 60, regardless of if you have all the add-ons put on for max coal for this coal mine. I've had it drop down to 60 because I just didn't have enough people to work it. Like the coal mine I have set up right now is supposed to be at 95 tons a day. It's currently at 88.5 because I don't have enough people. But once you get all of this set up and you have your complete infrastructure in place, a couple of things are going to happen. This coal mine is going to start producing coal, and it's going to store it here within itself, as you see, the coal storage. And if you don't have a trade depot set up with coal bins set to store your coal, that coal is just going to sit in your coal mine and not go anywhere. And once it fills up, it's not going to produce any more coal, and people are going to be unhappy, bad things are going to happen, life's going to suck. But if you have your trade depot set up and you have your coal bin set up, what's going to happen then is your delivery trucks that are specific to the coal mine are going to take the coal to your trade depot and store it there. Now, when it gets to the trade depot, it's going to store it up to every 10 increments of tons of coal it will ship out to sell. And every 10 tons of coal sells to the global market of, I think, 4,300 simoleons. This can be a really, really good and fast way of money, or it can be a complete nightmare if your city is set up like this what not to do city. And the reason why I say that is because unlike gambling where your profits just come in on site, on spot, there's many different stages and steps of collecting said money from this entire process. As I previously stated, your coal gets processed here, then it gets shipped over to your trade depot, and then once it hits your trade depot, it'll sit and store up until 10 tons of coal or excess. And then what happens then, a delivery truck will take your coal, and then it will take it to wherever your exit of your city is, to the regional. Alright, and once it hits regional, it'll go to the global market, which you can see on your regional map. It'll show the little truck and icon of it driving. And it'll take it to the global market, and it will sell it for 4,300 per 10 tons of coal. Now, the reason why I said this can be a nightmare like it is on this map is because that delivery truck has to go from your trade depot to the exit of your city. And if you have a city set up like mine where there's a ton of traffic, lots of traffic jams, that coal truck is going to get stuck at every single one of those little stops, and it's going to get stuck at traffic jams. It's going to sit there, and it's going to take forever to get to your exit of your city, and then it takes a little bit of time once it exits your city to get to the market and sell your coal, and then it has to make the return trip. So as a result of that, if you don't have a solid road infrastructure to get those trucks out, that truck's going to leave here, it's going to get clogged up in your city, and then what's going to happen then is if your coal plant is working at maximum capacity, it's going to continue to, process coal, and that coal is still going to get delivered to your trade depot. And that trade depot is going to fill up, and it's going to sit there and have no more room. And there's going to be nothing you can do about it unless you build more coal storage plants, if you can. If not, then it's going to sit there, it's going to store until it's at maximum capacity. Then your coal mine's going to fill up, and then you're going to stop making coal, and then both places are going to become unhappy, and more issues are going to arise. So, this is just the very basic starting steps of starting the trade and either ore mining or oil drilling. These are just the very first stages of getting all of this set up and running smoothly. And these are just your first two buildings in each specialization. I mean, it only gets a little bit crazier from there, and a little bit more demanding on everything else. So in the end, the best thing I can say is key points. One, make sure your utility and your workforce infrastructure in your city is set up to handle it. Secondly is make sure your road infrastructure is set up to handle it. Faults on either one of those can cause all kinds of problems and can turn this into a complete and utter nightmare. And you won't make any money off of it. You will actually lose money. And that's a quick micro tutorial on how to just start your trade industry with the help of coal or oil. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions on how I can better these videos, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you. Have a great day.